everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jessica. We're so glad you're here with us today.
Today's topic is super important, especially for English learners who want to sound confident and fluent. We're talking about how to speak without pausing too much while speaking English.
Yes, so many learners struggle with this. They start speaking, then suddenly, silence. Their brain freezes, they search for words, or they feel unsure. It's totally normal, but we're here to help you move past that.
Exactly. And the good news is, speaking more smoothly is something you can absolutely learn and improve with practice.
In this episode, we're going to talk about why we pause when we speak, how it affects fluency, and most importantly, we'll share practical tips and speaking techniques you can start using today.
We'll also do a fun role play, answer some common questions, and give you a speaking challenge at the end. So make sure you stay with us until the final minute.
All right, let's jump in and talk about why people pause when they speak English.
All right, so let's dive into it. Why do we pause when we speak English? I think the biggest reason is that our brain is still translating from our native language.
Totally, that's a big one. When you're thinking in your first language and then trying to translate into English, your brain needs time, so naturally you pause.
And those pauses can feel super awkward. You want to keep talking, but suddenly, your mind goes blank.
Right. And I've noticed this too many learners are afraid of making mistakes. They pause because they're trying to find the perfect word or perfect grammar.
Yes, and that fear of sounding wrong can be a huge block. But here's the thing. Native speakers also make mistakes. We say, We restart our sentences all the time.
Exactly. The difference is that native speakers keep the conversation moving. They don't stop completely. But learners often pause and stay stuck.
Another reason is vocabulary gap. You want to say something, but the word you need just isn't there yet.
That's so frustrating. It's like the word is on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't grab it.
And let's not forget nervousness, especially in front of a group, or when speaking to a native speaker. That pressure can make your mind freeze, even if you know the words.
Yes, your brain goes, nope, not today.
Exactly. So, just to sum it up, people usually pause because of translating from their native language, fear of making mistakes, gaps in vocabulary, nervousness, or performance pressure.
And the good news is we're going to help you work through all of that in this episode.
Yup. We'll show you how to speak more smoothly, build confidence, and use strategies that actually work in real conversations.
Okay, coming up next, we're going to do a little speaking demonstration how a conversation sounds with lots of pauses and how it sounds without them. It's going to be fun. All right, it's time for a real-life example. We're going to show you two versions of a short conversation. In the first one, I'll speak with a lot of pauses like many learners do. And in the second version, I'll try to speak smoothly and naturally.
This is going to be really helpful. So, listeners, pay attention to the difference in flow, confidence, and energy between the two. With pauses. Hey, Jessica, how was your weekend?
It was good. I went to the supermarket and I bought some vegetables and fruits.
Nice. Did you cook anything?
Yes, I tried to cook pasta, but it was not good.
It happens. Don't worry.
Okay, that version was tough. I sounded nervous, slow, and honestly not very confident.
You're right. The message was still clear, but it was hard to follow, and it felt like you weren't sure of your English.
Exactly. Now let's try version 2, where I speak more fluently and naturally. Fluent speaking.
Hey, Jessica, how was your weekend?
It was great. I went to the supermarket and picked up some vegetables and fruit. I even tried cooking pasta, but let's just say I still need some practice.
That sounds like a fun weekend, though. Wow, big difference. You spoke with confidence. Your rhythm was smoother, and it felt more like a real conversation.
Yes, and I didn't try to speak too fast. I just kept it simple and used words I'm comfortable with. That's key.
Absolutely. So if you're listening right now, try this at home. Take a simple topic like what you did yesterday and record yourself speaking it with pauses, then try again without pausing too much.
You'll really notice the difference. And remember, it's totally okay to pause a little. Even native speakers do. The goal is to avoid those long, awkward pauses that break the flow.
Coming up next, we'll share some powerful techniques to help you speak more smoothly and naturally in English. All right, now let's get into the good stuff techniques you can use to speak more smoothly and avoid long pauses.
Yes, these tips really make a difference, especially if you practice them regularly. So let's go through them one by one. Think in English.
Our first tip is start thinking in English. When you try to translate from your native language, it slows you down.
Exactly. Instead of saying, "How do I say this in English?" train your brain to form sentences directly in English.
And you can start small. For example, while you're brushing your teeth, think, after this, I'll make breakfast. I'm going to eat eggs and toast. Simple thoughts. No pressure. Use filler words wisely.
Next up, filler words. Now, we're not saying you should say every second.
Yeah, no one wants that. But using words like well, you know, actually, so, or let me think can help keep the conversation flowing.
It gives your brain a little time to think without going completely silent. For example, "Well, I'm not sure, but I think it's," or "Let me see, maybe on Monday?"
It sounds more natural, and you won't feel so panicked when you need a second. Slow down your speaking pace.
Tip number 3, slow down. Some learners think speaking fast means speaking fluently, but actually it often leads to more mistakes and more pauses.
Yes, slow, clear, and controlled speech is way better than rushing and freezing. Think of it like walking. You want to walk confidently, not trip over your own feet.
Nice example. Take your time. Don't race your thoughts. Use sentence connectors.
Here's a really helpful one. Use connectors to link your ideas. Words like first, then, after that, finally, because, but, however, and so.
Let's say someone asks, "What did you do today?" You could say, "First, I went for a walk. Then, I made breakfast. After that, I studied English for an hour."
That sounds smooth and structured. Connectors help guide your listener, and they help you know what to say next. Practice with shadowing.
Another powerful technique is called shadowing. You listen to a native speaker, maybe a podcast or YouTube video, and repeat what they say immediately after, almost like an echo.
It's amazing for improving rhythm, pronunciation, and fluency. You don't even have to understand every word at first, just focus on copying the sound and speed.
Over time, your mouth gets used to the patterns of English, and your brain learns to speak more automatically.
So, to recap, here are 5 practical techniques. Think in English, use filler words wisely. Slow down, use connectors. Practice shadowing.
And remember, don't try to do all of these at once. Pick 1 or 2 and focus on them this week.
Coming up next, we'll do a fun mini role play where we put these tips into action.
Now it's time for a mini role play, and this part is fun because we're going to show you how to put today's fluency techniques into real speaking practice.
Right. In this short dialogue, we're going to show 2 versions again, just like before. First, a conversation with too many pauses, and then one where we apply the techniques we talked about, slowing down, using connectors, thinking in English, and so on.
Let's pretend I'm talking about my weekend again, but this time I'll try not to use any fluency strategies. Okay, here we go, without fluency techniques.
Hey, Jessica, what did you do over the weekend?
Um, I went to, the mall. I bought clothes. Then I went home and watched a movie. It was good.
Got it. Sounds like a relaxing day.
Yikes, that sounded rough again. I felt unsure the whole time.
Yeah, and the message got lost in the hesitation. Okay, now try it again using the fluency techniques. With fluency techniques. Hey, Jessica, what did you do over the weekend?
Well, first I went to the mall with my sister. We bought some clothes and had coffee. After that, I went home and watched a movie on Netflix. It was a really fun day.
Much better. You used connectors like first and after that, and your pace was clear and confident.
And I used filler words like well to give myself a moment to think. I didn't rush, but I also didn't stop completely. Guided practice for listeners.
Okay, listeners, now it's your turn. Let's do a little speaking exercise together.
We'll ask you a few questions. After each one, pause the podcast, think about your answer, and say it out loud in English. Try not to pause too much.
Here's the first one. What do you usually do in the morning? Pause now and answer out loud.
Next one, tell us about your last vacation. Again, pause the podcast and give your answer use connectors like first, then, or after that.
And the last one, what do you want to do this weekend? Don't worry about being perfect. Just speak clearly and confidently.
Nice job! The more you practice like this, the smoother your speaking will become. It's all about repetition and being okay with making small mistakes. This activity will help you build fluency step by step. We'll ask you a question, give you a short example answer, and then give you time to say your own version out loud.
Try not to pause too much. Don't worry about mistakes. Just focus on keeping the flow going.
Here's the first one. What do you do after you wake up in the morning?
Here's an example. After I wake up, I brush my teeth, take a shower, and make breakfast.
Now it's your turn. Say your answer out loud. Pause here for 10 seconds.
Great. Here's the next one. What do you usually do on the weekend?
Example answer. On weekends, I usually relax, clean the house, and spend time with my family.
Okay, your turn. Try using a few connectors like then or after that. Pause here for 10 seconds.
Last one. What did you eat yesterday?
Here's a simple example. Yesterday, I ate eggs for breakfast, chicken for lunch, and soup for dinner.
Now you try. Don't rush, just speak clearly and smoothly. Pause here for 10 seconds.
Nice job! Even if you paused a little bit, that's okay. The key is to practice regularly and get used to forming sentences out loud.
Exactly. Do this kind of speaking practice every day, even just 5 minutes, and your fluency will improve fast.
All right. Coming up next, we'll talk about common mistakes people make when they try to speak without pausing and how to fix them.
All right. So now let's talk about some common mistakes learners make when trying to speak fluently and how you can avoid them.
Yes. Mistake number 1. Trying to speak too fast. A lot of learners think that fluent means fast, but that's not true.
Exactly. When you speak too fast, you're more likely to trip over words, lose your train of thought, or pause awkwardly. The solution? Slow down and focus on being clear, not quick. Using too many filler words.
Mistake number 2. Overusing filler words like you know, or like.
Now, a few are fine, but if you use them in every sentence, it can sound unsure or unprepared. Instead, try to pause silently or use helpful fillers like well or let me think. Chasing perfect grammar.
Another big one, trying to speak with perfect grammar every time. That often leads to hesitation and long pauses.
Yes, don't let grammar slow you down. It's more important to keep talking and finish your thought even if it's not 100% perfect.
Native speakers make grammar mistakes all the time. Focus on communication first, and fluency will follow.
So, here's how to avoid these mistakes. Don't rush. Slow and steady is better. Limit filler words, use them wisely. Don't aim for perfection, just speak naturally.
All right, we're almost at the end. Coming up next is your Fluency Challenge, a short task you can do right after this episode. All right, it's time for your Fluency Challenge. This is your chance to put everything you've learned into practice right now.
Here's how it works. We'll give you a topic, and you'll speak about it out loud for 1 full minute. Your goal is to speak without pausing too much.
Remember, don't worry about being perfect. Use sentence connectors, speak slowly, and if you forget a word, just keep going.
Okay, here's your topic. Talk about your daily routine. That means what you do from the moment you wake up until you go to bed.
Try to include as many details as you can. For example, I usually wake up at 7 a.m. First, I brush my teeth and take a shower. Then I make breakfast. And so on.
You can pause the podcast now and give it a try. Aim for 1 minute of smooth, natural speaking.
How was that? Even if it was tough, great job. The more you do this kind of practice, the easier it gets.
And here's an extra challenge. Record yourself speaking, then listen back and notice where you paused. Try again and see how much smoother you can get.
Coming up next, our final thoughts and a quick recap to close out today's episode. All right, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you found these tips helpful and easy to apply in your own speaking practice.
Remember, fluency isn't about speaking fast or perfectly. It's about being clear, confident, and consistent. Even small steps every day can lead to big progress.
Keep practicing your speaking. Try the Fluency Challenge again tomorrow. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're part of the learning journey.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode of the English Learning Podcast.
Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep speaking English. Bye for now.